Hi and hello, movie fans. I hope all is well with you wherever you are in the world today, and welcome. This is A Man Called Otto, and I am your host, Admiral Trench. Please remember to like and subscribe and share with your friends. Now, it just so happens that in the next few weeks, I have a book club meeting where I'm to talk about the book version of this movie. It's called A Man Called Ave. I believe it's a Scandinavian name. I looked up the meaning of the name, and it says The Edge of Fear. Now, I haven't read the book yet. I am going to read it before I do this book club meeting, but I have seen the movie, and I thought I would give my analysis and review of the film as well. So, let's get into this, shall we? Here we go. I have a few reviews and analysis videos I'd like to be making in the future as well. I'll be making a separate profile for that, or a playlist, if you will, on my channel for things like that. I'm just doing this for fun. I wrote this out today, and this will be what I present to the book club meeting in the next couple weeks, unless there's something substantially different about the book compared to the movie that I need to add, which I don't think. I won't be making any adjustments. So let's get into this analysis. Will we? Okay, let's do it. Now, the movie is called A Man Called Otto. And I looked into the meaning of that name as well, because names mean so much in storytelling. Otto means wealth and prosperity. But, to me at least, it sounds like the word auto, as in automatic. That will mean something down the road, but just hold on to that for the time being. Here we go. Let's get into this, shall we? All right. We meet Otto, an impatient grump and elderly man at a department store attempting to gather some seemingly common household items. When endeavoring to ask customer service helpers menial questions, he is met with blank stares and incompetence to the point of dysfunction. One wonders how these people even manage to get by in their day-to-day lives. This motif is shown again and again through the course of the story. Remember that for the future. Even though overcoming these mountains made from molehills only escalates his ever-increasing consternation with the people in the world around him, we do eventually see that Otto is not without grace, which adds just a touch of softness and charm to his character. Motivated to rejoin his late wife, the movie leads us to discovering that Otto is a widower, and those seemingly common household items he purchased were actually bought as tools to assist him in his attempted unaliving himself. You see, Otto is in many respects a very simple man, only he is highly regimented and routine-driven to a fault. I think his name even symbolically suggests as much, because Otto sounds similar to automatic. He is even named after his father, who had the same name, to emphasize the repetition in who he is as a person. This can make him a little awkward to interact with, which the movie might be hinting at a possible undiagnosed autism or social mental disorder of some kind. Now, his late wife was a school teacher, which tacitly implies to me that she was a social butterfly, having touched the lives of so many, many people. Because they are opposites in this regard, they very likely balanced each other out, which is why they made for such a happy couple in marriage. Getting back to that motif I mentioned earlier, after several awkward encounters with his neighbors and many failed unaliving attempts, Otto realizes that these people around him are in need of help. They seem so discombobulated and unconventional. Becoming unconventional himself by taking on the role of educator, he encapsulates the spirit of his late wife, which provides him with the feeling of closeness to her he so longed for. Deciding not to take his own life, Otto imparts his wealth of wisdom, which wealth means Otto, by the way, to his community and saves them from the consequences of their disjointed lives, which his neighbors provide him with a touch of the unconventional to make him feel balanced as though his wife was still with him until the day he dies of natural causes, having lived a long and fulfilling life. So I'm not getting into all the nitty-gritty and the different relationships he has through the course of the movie. You'll have to watch and see how those go. But yeah, that basically gets the to the core of the movie, what it's trying to say, at least as I see it. Now, I do think the movie is a good movie. I do think it was fun to watch and entertaining, but I have scoured the internet and listened to other reviews and movie analysis from different people, from all sorts of different points of view. And so I do think that mine is novel because I haven't really heard anybody touch on what I brought to the table here today in this analysis. But I will say that there was some, in my opinion, awkward moments in the movie in terms of how it was written. I do think some scenes could have been better, if you will. There's some forced scenes, a little forced. Now, I think I understand the reason why they're doing it. Some of the things that the movie is doing is it's introducing you to unconventional characters living unconventional lives, which is to contrast them as opposed to Otto, who is so conventional. He is so routine, so regimented, and so, how do we say, traditional, okay? The world that Otto is living in is a different world from his past, especially his married life past. But the movie does go into his actual past, like when he met his wife and asked her to marry him and so on and so forth. And it's just a different world today. He's in a completely new world, and everything is different than what he's used to. And so naturally, I think he's become kind of curmudgeonly, a little grouchy and grumpy. Although I do wonder, the movie doesn't go into this, but I do wonder, maybe he was always a little grumpy, and maybe his grumpiness just got worse after the passing of his late wife, but it doesn't give you enough information to make that claim. It just sort of shows you these small snippets of his life from the past. It seems to suggest he was not so grumpy before and became grumpy over time. So I don't know for sure. Perhaps the book goes into that in more detail. So I think another interesting thing about this movie was, given what I know, that the movie ends with the main character passing away of natural causes related to seemingly old age. I think Tom Hanks was a little too young for this part. I think Tom Hanks' performance is amazing. I think he did a great job in this movie, and the movie is good. Again, I don't want to try to imply it's bad in any way. I just think that Tom Hanks is still a little young, and so if I'm taking the story at face value, it's hard for me to believe he died of old age. He's still so young, you know. So and Tom Hanks in his career has always played such lively characters. You know, he's a youthful spirit, and you see that especially in his early career, but he carries it through, I think, to modern times, to present time. And so it's odd to me that he plays this character who, again, dies of old age. I do wonder what other more appropriate actor would look like. I think of the movie Gran Turismo, I think it's called, where I think it's Clint Eastwood. He plays this grouchy old man and has some similarities to this story in that film as well. But Clint Eastwood in that movie is old, and he looks old, and so he acts old, and everything in that part seems to make a degree of sense, but I still feel like, yeah, Tom Hanks is just a little young, in my opinion. Maybe he's the same age as Clint Eastwood was in that when that movie was made. I don't know. I didn't look into it, but it just, again, his youthful spirit. I don't know. Maybe that carries a lot of weight. Anyways, with that being said, I have nothing more to say about this movie. I genuinely enjoyed it, and I recommend other people check it out as well. So, with that said, c'est la vie. Nice chatting.